welcome to University of Pattern Drafting. My name is Umo, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to draft the perfect female shirt pattern. So for this tutorial, the materials I'm going to be needing are my ruler, paper tape, client's measurement, scissors, paper scissors, French curve, and writing material. And the measurements I'm going to be needing for this tutorial are the bust circumference, the under bust circumference, the waist circumference, the hip circumference, shoulder to bust point measurement, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, her shirt length, the shirt length, and her shoulder measurements, shoulder width measurements, her neck, around the neck measurements, then the shoulder to the long sleeve measurements, as well as all the around the arm measurements. So let's get right to it. So we're going to start first by drafting the front pattern. To draft the front pattern, watch me very closely. This is the center front. This is the center front of my pattern paper. So I'm going to measure 3 inches all the way down from my center front before I start. So measure 3 inches all the way down. Next step is to impute my shoulder width measurement. The client shoulder width is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll impute my 8 inches. I hope this is clear enough. So after marking 3 inches from the center front, impute a 1 inch allowance at the top of your paper, of your pattern paper. So I'll mark 1 inch all the way down. Just square my line. The next step will be to impute the shoulder width. Her shoulder width is 16 inches. Divided by 2 is 8 inches. So this is 8 inches. And then this is 8 inches. However, let me mention something about a shirt pattern. If you've noticed, most shirts and even female shirts usually have like the shoulder joining of shirts is usually somewhat to the front. I don't know if you get that. Like, it's not directly on the shoulder as other clothes, as against other female outfits. It comes forward. So usually it comes like about 1.5 inches, you know, forward. That's where the joining of the back and the front panel of a shirt is. So because of that, I'm going to start measuring, that is subtract 1.5 inches from the front panel of this shirt. So I'm going to start, whatever measurement I'm going to impute, whatever vertical measurement I'm going to impute, I'm going to subtract 1.5 inches. I hope you can see this. So whatever I'm going to start measuring, I'll start measuring on this line 1.5 inches. So I will impute all my vertical measurements. So shoulder to bust point 12 inches, shoulder to under bust 17.5 inches, her shoulder to her waist is 22 inches, and then her shirt, the shirt length is 32 inches. So I'll just square out all my lines. The next step will be to impute my arm side depth measurement. My arm side depth is For shirt pattern, you calculate your arm side depth as the bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So the client's bust is 45 inches divided by 6 is 7.5 inches plus 1.5 inches, that's 9 inches. So remember, throw away 1.5 inches and then start measuring from this 1.5 inches point and mark your 9 inches. So this is my 9 inches. Can you see that? And then mark out my 9 inches and draw out your armhole box. The next step will be to draw out my shoulder slant. The shoulder slant will be 0.75 inches. I hope this is clear. 0.75 inches. So I'll mark that and just connect it to the center front line. This top right corner. So 0.75 inches. The next step will be to impute my dart. The center leg of my dart line. So the client's bust span is 4.5 inches. Sorry, 9 inches. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5 inches. So measure 4.5 inches from the line. The line we created. So this is 4.5 inches. And this is 4.5 inches. So for a shirt, the dart is usually an inch and a half. Starts an inch and a half below the bust point and 2 inches and ends 2 inches below the waistline. So this is the bust point line. I'll mark 1.5 inches below the bust point line and 2.5 inches below the waistline. So this is the center leg of my dart. Measure the length of that. That's 11 inches. 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So at 5.5 inches, this will be the midpoint of my dart leg, and that's where I'll measure my dart width, which is 0.75 inches on both sides. So, and then I'll just create my diamond shaped dart. The next step will be to impute all my circumference measurements. So the client's bust is 45 inches. 45 divided by 4 is 11 1/4. So I'll impute that here. Client's hip is 48 inches. 48 divided by 4 is 12 inches. So I'll mark on 12 inches here. Then the waist is 42 inches. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'll mark the 42 inches at just somewhere randomly in between the under bust line and the waistline. So taking into cognizance the dart at that point, so I'll measure from the center front line to the first leg of the dart, which is 3¾ inches, and then mark my 10.5 inches just somewhere there. So this is what I have. So this is what I have. The next step would be to create that curved effect at the base of the shirt. So to do that, I'll measure from my center front to where my side seam line is. This is 12 1/4. So that means the midpoint is 6 1/8 inches. So this is the midpoint. From the edge here of the side seam, I'll go up by an inch. You can do between an inch and 1.5 inches. So and then just draw a slightly curved line upwards. Can you see that? And then you come down here to the center front and come down by 1 inch, and then connect both points. Just connect both points reasonably. So can you see? This is what I have. So the next step will be to impute all our seam allowances. So 1 inch seam allowance by the side of the shirt, 1 inch, and just 1 inch all the way. At the shoulder to 1/2 inch, all the way. And then at the base of the shirt, 1/2 inch. So that's basically all. The next step will be to impute my arm side. So to mark out my arm side, I would measure, we've thrown away 1.5 inches at the top of the at the shoulder portion. So I'll throw away that 1.5 inches and start measuring for 1.5 inches. Measure what I have left of the armhole line, this vertical line of the armhole, after imputing the shoulder slant. What I have left is 8 1/4 inches divided by 2. That's 4 1/8 inches. So that is this point. At that point, I'll come in by 3/8 inches. Can you see that? It's really easy. And then draw out my arm side on that point. And make it as reasonable as possible. So this is basically the front part of our female shirts, and then I'm going to be doing the part 2 of this video, which is the back part of the shirt. So thanks for watching, guys. Please make sure you watch the concluding part, which is the back part, to really understand it, because it's after I've done the back part that I would impute the neckline measurements, which is really important. That's one of the very important things about shirts. So watch the